To be continued. 3 little words that hold the secret to the next great story. 3 words that will thrill you, confound you, give life to new possibilities. Every variation of To Be Continued is a promise of adventure, a promise of excitement, a promise of unseen wonders and unexplored worlds. A promise that every issue you read makes you a part of a never-ending journey, and behind every page there will be an unopened door waiting for you. This story to be continued at your local comic book shop today. Visit comicshoplocator.com today.
What's up, the internet? It's Kyle. How's it going? I always stop like I'm waiting for you to answer, but the only person who can answer me is Dan, and I didn't bring him on screen yet.
Nope. I was off screen going, I'm good. How are you, Kyle? But yeah.
Right. Yeah, I got to think that one through.
Probably.
Yeah. So what's new, man?
I did the interview with Jim Valentino.
It's true.
And for the first time since I've been doing the Dan Wickline show, I didn't give myself a different name.
I was expecting it, and then you didn't, and I'm like, something is wrong.
I didn't know. It felt disrespectful to do it with Jim.
That's fair.
You know?
Yeah, that's fair.
I mean, it's a silly gimmick I've been doing.
One of his characters.
True. I could have said I'm a Paul Johnstone. Since I did bring Paul Johnstone back from the dead.
Right. You could be or you could have called yourself the guy who brought Paul back from the dead.
I could have said that. Yeah.
You wouldn't have been lying.
No, not at all.
So I had a very long weekend. We had a convention.
Yeah, your beard fell out.
It's true. The stress of the convention caused all the beard in my face to fall out and all the hair in my head to grow back. There was never any there to begin with.
Okay.
Right. That's kind of the point. Like, it was rough, man. It was rough. It was a good convention. We did really well, but like, I feel more than when I had the surgeries and was doing these shows from like the hospital and whatever. More than all of that, I feel like I've been hit by a bus.
Did you happen to get hit by a bus?
No.
But you did say the convention was outside.
Part of it was, yes. A large portion of it was. I'm wondering if part of the bus being hit by a bus thing isn't the number of corn dogs I ate. But also, like, I got put in a full Nelson by the mysterious Movado, the luchador wrestler. Doug Jones and I had a conversation from like 15 feet apart about the finer motor skills of Abe Sapien. And I realized that I'm so glad I was never a Power Ranger. Those guys have to do their morphin moves hundreds of times a convention.
Oh, I bet. Yeah.
And some of them like have to like spin around and like break dance and do all kinds of stuff.
There's one important question. How many corn dogs was too many?
At this point, I'd choose to plead the fifth.
So at least 5.
No, I am not going to incriminate myself for any entities that out there that may be watching in terms of the kind of people who monitor corn dog consumption, aka my dietitian or my mother. But it was more than some and less than all.
Sounds like 8 to me.
Between those and the funnel cakes, man, it was a good show.
Good.
So, all right, should we get to the books?
No,
Okay.
I don't think we should. I think we should just keep chatting for the day, Or we could sing Hotel California.
On a dark desert highway, cool wind in my hair.
Warm smell of colitas rising up in the air.
So, fun story. Don Henley did not want to use colitas because he didn't think it would sound right being sung. They fought, and finally Glenn Fry goes, "We'll try margaritas," knowing that it was syllabically wrong, but it ended in the right syllable. And so Don tried it, and it was so awkward. He's like, "Fine, I'll do it." But also fun Eagles trivia. So the original guitar solo at the end is played by a guy named Don Fingers Felder.
Okay, yeah, I know of Don Felder.
Now a guy named Stuart Copeland is the guitarist in the Eagles. Replaced Fingers Felder when he quit.
Didn't Stuart Copeland used to play with the Police?
He did, but different guy.
Oh.
That's why I know this fact. I'm like, wait, the dude from the Police is in the Eagles now? Different.
Yeah, that was news,
Different dude. I was real excited. That's not true. Anyhow, but when they play Hotel California now, he plays a different solo. He refuses to play Fingers Felder's solo.
Respect.
Yeah, it's close, but it's different. It's like the difference between Under Pressure and Vanilla Ice. Like
where it just bugs you through the whole thing.
It's like one note different, but you can hear it if you listen to it. Yeah, that's so. Sean Butler, the live acoustic from the '90s includes Fingers Felder, and the third bassist in the Eagles, who is originally the bassist and lead singer from Poco. We could do this all night.
I could tell. You seem to have a lot of Eagles trivia.
They're my second favorite band.
Oh, who's your first?
Warren Zevon.
Werewolves of London.
Nolan the Headless Thompson Gunner.
Send money, guns, and lawyers.
Lawyers, guns, and money.
Lawyers, guns, and money. That's it. I love that song.
Yep, he has a song that is kind of my anthem right now, from one of his last records called "Don't Let Us Get Sick," that he came out after he found out he had cancer.
Okay.
It's one of the saddest, most haunting, touching songs ever, and it's kind of my anthem because it's like that thing about not wanting to get old and not wanting to have your body fall apart, but not being able to stop it.
Yeah.
So.
Sean said the Eagles in Boston were the two big rock bands for his parents. I saw Boston live when I was in high school, and it was the first time I had ever been stuck in a marijuana cloud that just hovered over the audience, which was amazing because we were in an open air amphitheater, which shows just how much smoke was going on.
Interestingly enough, the founder of Boston, a guy named Tom Stoles, originally from Toledo, his brother was the first ever cousin, was the first ever recording technician to give me a job.
You're breaking up a bit on your mic.
Maybe I need to just be closer to it, like this. But Tom Stoles, founder of Boston, is originally from Toledo. His cousin was the first ever recording technician to give me a job.
Nice.
So, and then we'll end one last Eagles / other thing fact. Warren Zevon was close to Jackson Brown. Jackson Brown was close to the Eagles. All those guys were friends.
Right.
Jackson Brown was living downstairs from Glenn Fry and Don Henley while he was writing Doctor My Eyes. And every morning, the Eagles would essentially be waking up to him pounding out the chords for Doctor My Eyes. And he had gotten to a point where he had gotten like writer's block and couldn't move on. And so Don Henley and Glenn Fry went down and basically helped him break his writer's block. A few months later, they have, I'm standing on the corner in Winslow, Arizona, such a fine sight to see. And the Eagles have writer's block. And Jackson Brown just goes, "It's a girl, my lord, in a flatbed Ford." And the rest of the song wrote itself. I love that idea of all those guys like living together and hanging out and just writing each other's songs.
Yeah, like it's like the musical equivalent of the Marvel bullpen.
Yeah, it's exactly it.
Yeah.
So when I was in the music industry, a bunch of us all lived in a bunch of apartments kind of in a row. And you'd wind up like on somebody's stoop. And next thing you'd know, you'd have the whole Sarah Bareilles record or a whole like what would go on to become Fun record because Jack Antonoff was living down the street and he'd come down and be working on that stuff. And like, it was wild. So
very cool.
Talk about comics now.
Yeah.
But can we talk about the hardcover first?
Sure. Bring it in.
The Complete American Gods by Neil Gaiman, P. Craig Russell, and Scott Hampton. With that huge David Mack cover art. Yes. So this is the Complete American Gods comic series adapted by comics legend P. Craig Russell from the award-winning novel by Neil Gaiman, a deluxe oversized collection with a slipcase and ribbon. This book is fancy. Shadow Moon, fresh out of jail, finds his wife dead, his life in shambles, and nowhere to turn. But a chance meeting with the mysterious Mr. Wednesday thrusts him into the center of a conflict between new and old gods, where the future of human and divine life is at stake. This is 720 pages.
Oh, I thought you were going to say dollars.
No, it's $125.
Better than 700.
Yeah, I mean, at 700, so it's 720 pages. Let's do the math. 720 divided by, or no, it's
7 pages $1.
125 divided by 720. That's 17 cents a page.
Okay.
Which I know is less than Scott Hampton and P. Craig Russell's page rate. So you're doing pretty good.
Yep. I remember reading, I don't, because, I got so many things going on. I tend not to sit down and read novels. I listen to them when I drive.
Yes.
And I remember listening to the opening of American Gods and feeling so much anxiety for that first chapter and what Shadow's going through and knowing something bad was going to happen. And then what does happen just blows me away because the whole thing feels like he's not going to get out of prison. It's so about him getting out of prison, and it feels like he's not going to get out. Something bad's going to happen. And then something completely different bad happens, probably worse. And it's like, wow.
Right. I mean, and it's one of those things. It's like when I first read American Gods, no, I'm lying. When I first listened to it, I had already read Neil Gaiman's Norse mythology. And so when they're talking about Loki Lysmith, I'm like, oh, it's Loki. Got it.
Yeah.
I know what this is. But then you read it and it's like, oh, this is Low-Key, Lowkey, which is different.
But the same.
Right, but the same. And by the way, if you're going to go out and get the audiobook, pick up the 10th anniversary edition, full cast production.
That's what I listened to. It is awesome.
It's amazing.
For me, the Loki Lysmith didn't really clue It was Mr. Wednesday. As soon as I heard Mr. Wednesday, I knew who it was. And then going back to Loki Lysmith made sense.
Right. And what's hysterical to me about this, too, is that first time I heard the name Mr. Wednesday, do you know who I pictured? Ian McShane.
Yeah.
Who went on to become Mr. Wednesday in the show. Like,
Yep.
the first time I heard the name, I'm like, oh, that clearly looks like either Ian McShane or Billy Connolly. Right? Like, it's got to be that kind of Scottish, Welsh, Irish.
Yeah. Yeah, I just pictured him more with a full beard, though.
Well, Billy Connolly with the full beard.
Almost like Denver Pyle from Dukes of Hazzard, but with a Scottish accent.
See, I pictured him like Billy Connolly from like Boondock Saints.
Yeah.
So, like I said, this book, guys, this book was really important to me. American Gods, the original, and then the individual comic issues were really big for me. That David Mack cover is insane. The gold inlay, you get a ribbon, slipcase. This is a great way if you wanted to collect this book to put it on a shelf and have it look pretty.
Also, keep in mind, Christmas is coming. So for your American God fans that you need to buy a gift for.
True.
You can get your Christmas check just right off like that. That's a beautiful gift.
That is a great gift. In fact, I think Dan should buy it for me for Christmas.
I'll make a note of it.
It's going to happen, but I think he should. Doesn't mean it's actually going to happen. All right, let's go the opposite direction from there.
All right. Exo Man of War. Now, I read the 5th issue, and it was a little confusing, but I'm sticking with it because Dennis Hopeless, his writing is really good. This film is going to pick up a little more. Emilio Lazio is the artist on it. It says Exo Man of War has saved the planet from hostile forces countless times before, but the new threat that looms in front of him is unlike anything he has faced before. And with the sentient alien armor glitching, Exo's situation is about to get much worse. So I always liken this book, for anybody who hasn't been reading it, to if you put Conan into Iron Man's armor, you get Exo Man of War. Because this guy was basically a savage and came across an alien tech suit, which absolutely love that concept. And it's been a great book, and it's one of the top Valiant books. To me, Exo, Bloodshot, and Ninjak are the top 3 character-wise. And I really love this book.
Yeah, I mean, I like the idea of taking Conan and putting him in a super suit. In my read of, because it's the Valiant universe, I've always thought it more as Turok, like futuristic Turok.
Yeah.
But futuristic Turok would be Conan in a super suit.
Mm-hmm.
So it's a good analogy. I'm not currently reading Exo Man of War, partially just because I missed the first couple of issues.
Yeah.
And so I'm waiting for a new jumping in point, which I think is issue 7.
Most likely. And then there's probably going to be a trade off of the first 6. That cover is stunning.
It is. It absolutely is. The other 2 covers, I would say, don't hold a candle to it.
Yeah.
This cover is, they don't say.
Sean is dead on right now with Exo and Shadow Man are the two top books this year. Ninjak, the story is good. I'm not loving the art, but Shadow Man is probably the best. To me right now, Shadow Man is the best all-around Valiant book. I'm really enjoying it. Art, writing, everything.
Yeah, no, I want to jump back into Exo. I really do. I read the Matt Kent run on it. And
Which
quite
is fantastic.
Yes, it was. So I just need to jump back in, and so I'll pick up the trade of this volume and then jump back in with the next line, assuming that's how this goes. It may just be the 6 and be done. We'll have to wait and see.
Yeah, they usually do a little longer than that, though. They usually go about like 12. Yeah,
I don't see a solicitation for a 7 yet, but that could be they're taking a break because Dennis Hopeless it's not like he's not doing anything else.
Right.
So, all right, let's go to, this is Onslaught Revelation.
Revelation.
But it's Onslaught.
Yes. Onslaught Revelation.
Giant Wolverine with shoulder pads.
Yeah. Now, the reason this one caught my eye is it's Simon Spurrier writing it, and I just got done reading the Black Knight series he did, which I was a little hesitant on the beginning of, and then just dove in, and it was a great series. So I'm looking forward to seeing what he does here with artist Bob Quinn, and of course Jonathan Hickman is kind of guiding this series. He says, "You have strayed from the way of the X. The onslaught is upon you. The X-Men's greatest foe, mutant kind's primal evil, slithers into the minds of the most senior leaders. The kids whisper of the Crucible, a party to end all parties, a party to end everything.
Hold
the
on.
seals are broken." What?
It's Crucible.
Crucible. I'm sorry. You're right. They're doing a funny play on words.
A pun. We got to make puns, Dan.
Yes. The kids whisper of Crucible, Nicki Minaj calling, a party to end all parties, a party to end everything. The seals are broken. The trumpets have sounded. Only a small band of eccentric mutants can hope to break the fall. Can Nightcrawler light the spark that will drive out the shadows, or will Krakoa slip into the abyss?
So, I don't really have anything to say about this because Onslaught's a badass, and that should be enough to sell you on this book.
Mm-hmm.
But next week, I'm on a little vacation end of next week after our show after Wednesday shows. I go on vacation, and I have to go to this big fancy gala. And
there's no vacation in your contract.
I'm taking it. Anyhow, but Dan will appreciate this. When you are my size, trying to find formal wear,
yes,
is a nightmare and a half.
Mm-hmm.
Shaquille O'Neal has a clothing line. I almost bought a Shaq suit, but I was worried it made me look too much like someone who got rejected from the school of pimpology. It was a tough look, but I found one only to I liked it in the store. I got it home. I put it on and I look like Violet Beauregard from Willy Wonka and the Chocolate Factory after she gets turned into a giant berry.
See, I thought you would have gone all white for the Kingpin look.
No, it's Sean Butler. That's where I got it, was DXL. But so the theme of the ball, or the theme of the gala, is Hollywood Gothic. So think Vincent Price-ian kind of clothes. So I had to get something that kind of looked like that. So it's that with it's a berry colored coat with a light pink shirt and a black ascot.
Oh, wow! You need to do pictures of this.
And this head.
We need pictures.
Yeah, I hate formal wear.
We need pictures.
This is as dressy as I get. I'm wearing a collar. Get off my back. And it's like, nope, you got to wear a coat. Really? All right. Yes, there will be pictures. Picture didn't happen. Yes.
And they go up on the EXP Instagram account.
I have no problem with that.
And we need a TikTok video.
There will be a TikTok video because I most certainly will be dancing at some point.
Okay. You got it covered then.
I will do the bougie like Applebee's dance.
God, I hate that commercial.
I understand. So I kept getting it. That song kept getting stuck in my head when I was in the hospital. I'm like, I'm not on TikTok. I've not been watching TikTok. Why is it getting stuck in my head? Then I realized it's the actual Applebee's commercial, and it made me angry. And then I ordered Applebee's. They have a new category on their menu that says fancy like. And it's the Bourbon Street steak and the Oreo shake. Let's talk about some Zenescope comics, shall we?
Oh, thank God.
This is Wonderland, Reign of the Madness Annual.
I feel almost slighted here because Madness in Wonderland, that was my turf. I did Madness over Wonderland and Call of Wonderland, but they're doing Wonderland, Reign of Madness Annual. Dave Franchini's writing this one.
Should we call Dave right now? Be like, hey, man.
Hundreds of years before the Lydells ever stepped foot there, and long before it was destined for its inescapable chaos and insanity, there was Wonderland, the realm of dreams. It was a peaceful land of hope and imagination, but under its surface grew a darkness, waiting to spread its tendrils into all that was. And as it was finally released, the evil seeped out into the extraordinary world, pulling two sisters into the center of its plot to bring madness to the inhabitants of all it touched, turning all it corrupted into nightmares of their former selves. A war has been building for the very soul of the realm, and madness aims to reign over all that resides there. But can the hope of a few and the love of a sister keep the evil at bay and fight what is destined to be? Don't miss this oversized Wonderland issue that sets the stage for all that comes after.
I love that last line. Don't miss this oversized Wonderland issue.
I know. It's like a freaking book.
Deep place. Like about what are you and who are you and the madness that exists inside of you. And that's like, don't miss out on this deal.
It reminds me of an old comedian named Jeff Altman. And he would do this routine about commercials. And you'd see, yes, we have a lovely French wine. Come down to Bay Store, and we have a Chateau Blanc, and then it would end with available at Ralph's.
I was talking to our friend JD today, and I go, "Are you at Ralph's?" And he goes, "No." I go, "Okay, can you go to Ralph's?" And he goes, "Why?" I go, "I need granola bars." He's like, "Dude, that would be the longest Instacart drive ever."
Yeah, he's out here with me.
Yeah, I know. But they're out of granola bars at my local Kroger.
Amazon.
Nah, they wouldn't be here fast enough. I just have to go to Walmart and hate myself about it.
No, nobody needs to go to Walmart.
It's the only store in town with my granola bars, and I need them for the plane ride. All right. Let's take a break. We've had a weird first half hour. Let's take a quick break. We'll be back in just a few minutes here on The Experience with Dan and I, hopefully maybe finding some sort of gear, or maybe we'll talk about the Eagles some more.
Yeah. Or Genesis. I'm big on Genesis.
We can talk about the Eagles of Death Metal.
Eagles of Death Metal. Have you heard of the band called Who? H-U?
Yes.
Aren't they amazing?
I don't know. I've never heard of them. Are they on second?
I don't know.
There's something for every imagination at your local comic shop. Visit comicshoplocator.com to find a store near you.
We're back.
Are we?
Yes.
You sure? I mean, you and I think we're back, but do they know?
I don't know. I've not figured that part out yet. But hey, I didn't tell you one of the fun things about the convention.
What's that?
I bought some original art.
What'd you buy?
I bought a Vince Locke page from his new creator own title,
Nice.
as well as some pages from his book American Freak. I bought a...
You can do it. Come on. You
it's
can
a
do
book
it.
I don't remember. Rick something. But it's a really cool blue line piece of a guy who gets in a car accident, and the car accident's really pretty.
Yeah.
So I bought that, and I bought another piece that's from a superhero book that I'm waiting to find out exactly which superhero book it is. I emailed the artist. I just bought it because it's really cool landscapes. And then I bought the piece that screams Kyle more than any piece of art I've ever bought. It's from Jughead number 30. The burger that saved the world. The whole front page is just Madge on the phone screaming at Jughead. And it just says, the burger that saved the world across the top. I'm pretty happy.
Nice.
Yeah, I felt like that was a piece that needed to come with me. Like, we're going to talk about cheeseburgers that saved the world and not be Jimmy Buffett. It felt like it needed to be me. That was a Cheeseburger in Paradise reference that maybe I shouldn't have made.
I'm not judging you.
Yes, you are.
Yes, I am.
I like how I can talk regular loud and I don't hear myself in an echo in your microphone. If I get real close to my microphone and whisper, I hear the echo like 8 seconds later.
Then I wouldn't talk close to the microphone.
No, it's just an interesting phenomenon. So let's talk about the United States of Captain America number 4.
Ah, yes.
So just as a heads up for those of you who are reading the United States of Captain America, this cover is totally a mislead.
This is another Alice Wong book.
Yes.
Alyssa Wong.
Yes.
Yeah. For some reason, I thought maybe we had her on 2 books last week because it seemed like I had another one, but I don't. Is Alyssa Wong, Christopher Cantwell, Dale Eaglesham, and Jody Nishijima.
Yep.
And it says John Walker, the U.S. agent, and Bucky Barnes, Winter Soldier, join the fight against vicious Captain America imposter and his shadowy patrons as the chase leads them to interrupt a break-in at one of the most secure facilities in the country. The true magnitude of the forces arrayed against them finally become clear. But are they too late to stop what's already been put into motion? Also introducing Ariel Agbayani,
Yep.
the campus Captain America. When her college turns a blind eye to rich kids behaving badly, she springs into action, and she's not afraid to fight dirty.
So for those of you who don't remember, this series, the United States of Captain America, has been kind of led by Chris Cantwell and Dale Eaglesham, kind of in the same way that Hickman is leading all the X books. These guys had this vision, and then they went out to get artists and writers who are represented in the Captain Americas they've come across. So Alyssa Wong writing about a young girl on a college campus, Alyssa Wong being a young writer, kind of represented. In number 1, you had the Captain America who was LGBTQIA. The writer on that book was out as well. They've got Captain Americas that are represented by the people who are writing the individual Captain America stories. Plus, you have this big John Walker, Bucky Barnes overarch story where they keep running into these other Caps, and it's this story about how just because Steve Rogers isn't carrying the shield doesn't mean other people won't pick it up, and doesn't mean that it doesn't have the same sort of properties when carried by other people. I really like this book. I interviewed, and I'm going to blank on his name, and I'm going to feel real bad about it. Josh Trujillo, who wrote the first United States of Captain America, about the series. And, it was really interesting to talk about how a character that's so endemic of a cultural kind of thing, like the United States and what the United States is and how the United States, is looked upon, and throw in all this new representation and do it in a way that, one, isn't going to offend anyone, and two, is going to do a proper job of representing everyone. So,
cool.
Captain America, United States Captain America. All right, a book that made me legit cry. I have read this book. Mr. Eastman was dumb enough to send me a script. And when I say dumb enough, he was incredibly kind and generous, and we had been working and working and working. I go, I can't wait for number 4. And he goes, would you just want to read it? And I went, you can do that? And he went, my name on the book, isn't it? And I went, okay. So I don't know that it was the final script. This was a while ago. But with a few key allies, the Ronin takes on the greatest risk yet to infiltrate Baxter Stockman's Tech Island. What happened many years ago to set the Ronin on this quest for vengeance, find out in this action-packed penultimate issue. So in this issue, the Ronin takes on an apprentice who is related to someone if you're reading regular Turtle stories. Then you get a story about how the Ronin became the Ronin, including what happened to Donnie. And it really is just one of those gut punch reads, and it sets issue 5 up just perfectly to be this either glorious moment or this moment that just drags you through hell in a way that only Kevin Eastman and Peter Laird working together can do. So I love the Turtles. In case you guys haven't noticed, these are my favorites.
I think we've noticed.
Yeah. King Shark.
Do.
I did that on Jen's show just a minute ago.
And she didn't kick you off?
I was producing it. So
Tim Seeley, Scott Collins.
Yes. Can we just say that King Shark is having his moment?
He is. And I love the opening of the solicitation is what gets me. On leave from Suicide Squad, who lets King Shark go on leave?
Well, where he goes on leave to, I guess it's okay.
King Shark and an unfortunate tag-along, the Defacer, get swept up in a mystical tournament for totem animal spirits at the behest of King Shark's father, the god of sharks. Now King Shark must battle brutal warriors like Queen Tiger, King Roach, Prince Nematode, Princess Peregrine, and the terrifying Man King to finally attain his destiny and make his dour dad proud. Man King?
Yeah, that one's a little rough. But can we talk about how King Roach is just Nick?
King Roach?
Yeah. If you're not aware, there's a thing. Look up Nicky the Roach. He was a character in a show. Just throwing that out there. Okay. So King Shark's dad summons him basically, and he has to go into this kind of battle, which he fights some really dumb stuff, including, Prince Nematode. But he takes along a character with whom he has developed a relationship in prison called the Defacer. What is the Defacer's superpower? They're a tagger.
Yeah, I was going to say graffiti.
I don't know what that does, but I assume it's like Polka Dot Man. By the way, at the convention, there was an amazing Polka Dot Woman cosplay.
Nice.
She would come up to you, and she had those little, those little clear markers you put on bingo cards.
Yeah.
She'd hand you a bunch of those in different colors. Like, it was pretty awesome. But no, so yeah, it's the Defacer and the King Shark trying
By the way,
other animals.
the best Polka Dot Man cosplay is David Dasmalchian's cat that he got while on the set of Suicide Squad, that the costume department made it a Polka Dot Man costume.
Yeah, okay. Yeah. All right, this is the Low Woods. This is a trade paperback from what do you know? Hill House Comics, aka Joe Hill, aka DC Black Label. Shock of shocks, I'm going to talk about a Black Label book. Shudder to think, Pennsylvania has been on fire for years. Seems right. The woods are full of rabbits with human eyes, a deer woman who stalks hungry girls, swaths of skinless men, and people of Shudder to think. And the people of Shudder to think, well, they're not doing so well either. When Elle and Octavia wake up in a movie theater with no memory of the last few hours of their lives, the two teenage dirtbags embark on a horrifying journey to uncover the truth about the strange town that they call home. From critically acclaimed writer Carmen Maria Machado, who wrote Her Body and Other Parties, comes the Low Woods from the smash hit lineup of Hill House Comics Library, featuring stunning artwork by Danny, who did Lucifer. This volume collects issues 1 through 6 of the Low Woods. Joe Hill.
Yeah. When did he move over from IDW to DC?
Dark Label. Black Label.
Well, yeah, but he was doing all this stuff over at IDW.
He still is. He's not exclusive.
Yeah.
Because like Sleeping Beauties is over at IDW. But it was when DC puts together a horror imprint. How do you not ask him, right? I mean, that's kind of a thing. And so I think he came over to kind of help give them some credibility, and found that it was a place where he could, kind of foster people like Carmen Maria Machado and some of these other artists, other people who had been inspired by him and by Stephen King and by, all these people, into creating books that can kind of carry that legacy. So cool. Anything from Hill House over there is great. All right, let's move on to
Moon Knight.
The Moon Knight. This cover, by the way, by Steve McNiven and Jay Lee.
Nice and creepy.
It's gorgeous, isn't it?
Yeah, this has been an interesting series. It's a lot more cerebral than I expected. It's a much more, all of issue 2 was, very little fist fighting and little more mental battles and stuff, with a very strange villain. So issue 3, I'm really looking forward to issue 3, because this has just been a weird series so far. Jed McKay, Alessandro Cappuccio, an apostate priest, Moon Knight has taken on Khonshu's duty on his own. To the people he protects, this is a blessing. To Hunter's Moon, this is sacrilege. It's no small thing to betray a god and take on his role. When the Fist of Khonshu offers shelter to vampires, the ancient enemy of the moon god, the Moon Knight requires correction, and Hunter's Moon will bring him back to the right path, whatever it takes. The idea here is that a group of people got turned into vampires and against their will and just want to exist. So Moon Knight goes, okay, yeah, you were just normal people and you got attacked. It's not fair that we then take you out. So he kind of gives them rules and has them, living in his area. And this pisses off Hunter's Moon, who considers himself the other Fist of Khonshu. Because, two fists.
Right. Which one is Poncho and which one is Lefty?
I'd say that Moon Knight is Pancho.
Yeah, that makes sense. Joel Eden, does the new Moon Knight series require previous knowledge of Moon Knight? It certainly didn't hurt, but it's not required.
Yeah, issue 1 really sets it up. The mental gymnastics that he goes through, and his issues and stuff, and they do a good job of that. So you could come in clean, but if you get a chance to go back and read some of the old ones, like Bill Sienkiewicz art on the Doug Munch stuff, do it. I mean, they're freaking awesome. Also, who was writing it recently with Jason Burrows on art?
I forget.
Well, that's a really good run as well.
Yeah. All right. All right, here we go. And this is Shudder, which is from Warrant Publishing, Shudder Magazine #1. Shudder revives the iconic Warren Illustrated horror magazines from the 60s and 70s by replicating Warren's early page layouts and publishing new classic-styled work by original Warren artists, writers, and editors. Each issue is a highly collected instant classic. So this is on my list only because it's the Warren books.
Right.
I'm sure you had a relationship with the Warren books too.
Oh, yeah.
So,
so this is, I love that they're collecting this stuff and, putting out the new material so people can get it. I mean,
yeah, I do too. And some of it's new, which is even greater. Yeah. We're taking it, kind of, what's the word I'm looking for? Inspiration from and paying homage to. So I like that.
Yeah. The cover itself looks like a Warren cover, that looks like,
All right. So let's move on here to the one with the droids, because there's like 19 words in this title.
I picked this one because it's Cavan Scott, who has been doing an amazing job on Star Wars. It's Megan Levins and Francesco Francavilla. Frankenvilla? I guess it depends on what he likes about Young Frankenstein. So it's Star Wars Adventures, Ghost of Vader's Castle #1. And the Star Wars Adventures are for younger readers. So when you go in the shop and you're looking for something for your nephew, for your niece, for your kid, and they like Star Wars, this is a good pickup. Says, join Cavan Scott and Francesco Francavilla and a host of classic Star Wars artists in the epic conclusion, the Vader's Castle saga. Star Wars Adventures Ghost of Vader's Castle is a horror-packed, star-studded 5-week event guaranteed to haunt your dreams. Okay, maybe not for kids, specific kids. In issue 1, life is looking up for Lena and Milo Graff and Crater, but Milo has been having nightmares about zombie droids. Love that idea, zombie droids. Find out what's causing these dreams and if Milo can handle being haunted by the ghost of Vader's castle. I didn't know that Vader had a castle.
I'm guessing that the Death Star is a space castle.
Could be.
Yeah. I don't know. Now I will say this though. The solicitation probably does this a little bit of a disservice. This is an all ages title.
Right.
Now, when we say all ages, we mean at the discretion of the people who know the children best. Having looked through this book a little bit and having talked to some people about it, I would have no problem showing it to a young child. However, there will be children who will have nightmares about this book. So just know that going in.
Yeah.
Julian says there's a Lego set of Vader's castle. He thinks, yeah, there's a Death Star. I'm going to stick by that the Death Star is actually just a space castle because we know that's no planet or that's no moon.
Right. That's no moon. Yeah, I don't remember Vader having a castle, but they did a lot of stuff in the expanded universe.
Right. And maybe it's like, what's that thing? Every man has his castle.
Yeah. But if you had the money, would you not get a castle?
If I had the money, I'd have a space castle.
There you go.
I would build a Death Star. It probably wouldn't shoot lasers. It'd probably do something like make pancakes, but like...
It's a castle on Mustafar. That's a bad idea. Let's go and build a castle in the place where I lost most of my body. I know I'll build a castle so I always have high ground.
If you build it, they will come. Maybe he was trying to draw Obi-Wan back. I don't know. Maybe he thought Obi-Wan would walk out of the lava fields.
Was he turning the castle to an Airbnb or a space B&B?
I don't know. I have no idea, but we're getting out of hand here. And so let's move on to King Spawn. We have a couple of kings and a couple of knights this week.
Yeah. We're getting medieval.
Right. And if there were some books that had queen in the title, we would talk about them too.
Under pressure.
Dum 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 da da dum dum.
All right, King Spawn, Sean Lewis, Todd McFarlane, and Javier Fernandez. One of the most vile and horrific villains in Spawn mythology returns. Billy Kincaid, now simply called Kincaid, but his new campaign to murder is more than it seems. Like everyone else in Spawn's universe, battle lines have been drawn and all-out war is about to be unleashed. McFarlane is just expanding this universe at record pace here. You know, he did the Spawn universe, or I don't remember what he called it. Was it Spawn universe?
Yes.
Then King Spawn, and he's already announced Gunslinger Spawn, and I have a feeling there's going to be more. You know, he's going to start expanding out the Spawns like crazy. So you get all these different versions of Spawn. You know, if he needs a writer for medieval Spawn,
right,
I'm available, Todd.
You need Spawn from Infinite Earths. You know,
eventually it's going to be when you walk into a comic store and you go, "What's new?" It's going to be like a skit from Monty Python. Spawn, 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 King Spawn, and Spawn.
Right. Like if Todd needs somebody to write like Spawn goes to the mall, or if you give us Spawn a cookie, let me know. But I'm here for it. Like, these have been real good.
If you're going to give Spawn a cookie, then you got to get Scotty Young to do the artwork on it.
Or Katie Cook.
Katie Cook would be good. I'll give you that. Or Tony Fleece.
Yes, absolutely. Any of those guys, really.
Yep.
America's Tom Zoller. All right.
As opposed to Canada's Tom Zoller?
I don't know. He calls himself that. But I've not asked if there is a Canadian Tom Zoller. All right. Let's talk about this book. We've talked about this book a bunch, and it's been on the list a bunch of times. So I'm going to throw it out there. This is Impossible Jones. This is the story of a woman who gets superpowers, and so everyone thinks she's a superhero, except that she is not. It's Carl Kessel.
She's a supervillain, isn't she?
Kinda. She's just a thief, but she has superpowers. Does that make you a supervillain, or does that just make you a thief with gear? Find out in Impossible Jones by Carl Kessel. Like I said, we've talked about this book a few times. It keeps showing up on the list, so we keep talking about it. But with that said, let's go ahead and hit our break, Dan, and we will be right back in just a couple minutes here on The Experience.
Running away, it's the living top.
Hey everybody, welcome back to In Stores this week. Kyle has currently been kidnapped by some Oompa Loompas, and we've set out a search team to try to find him, but while he's gone, I thought I would take a moment and talk about the interview we did earlier today with Jim Valentino. It was actually recorded on Monday because Jim, time crunch, but in it, we had a very interesting conversation, which I think is going to be crucial to a lot of comic fans, where we talk about the changes in the distribution. Now, most of you guys behind the scenes stuff, that doesn't really matter. And it's true. As long as the books are in the shop, that's really what matters, right? Well, the distribution setup is starting to change, and we're seeing companies move away from Diamond. Now, before all of this happened, like in the 80s and stuff, when the direct market started, there was a bunch of different distributors, but they all carried the same books. You know, you could go to Friendly Frank's, or you could go to Capital, or you could go to Diamond and get all your books. And you usually went with who gave you the best deal. And then Marvel bought Heroes World. DC went exclusive with Diamond. Other Image started going exclusive. Dark Horse went exclusive. And all the other distributors just disappeared. So the fact that there's a bunch of distributors, now that was 1994, and Jim Valentino was basically, Image was 2 years old when that happened. So that was very fresh. Big changes happening to a brand new company. Now what's happening is publishers are moving away from Diamond, and they all seem to be going to different directions. So yes, we're going to have multiple distributors again, but it's not going to be like the setup that it was before, where you could get all your books from one distributor, whatever retailer you are. They have to specifically go to a specific distributor. If you want these books, you got to go to Diamond. But if you want IDW books, they've just made a deal to be distributed by Penguin. You know, DC, I'm not, off the top of my head, I don't remember who DC is signed with. But DC last year started doing their own distribution. Now that's completely different. So it's become really important to you as a reader. You need to make sure you pre-order your books from your retailers. You need to let them know exactly what it is you want. And you got to pay attention to shows like this. And some of these, when the retailers put out their solicitations, because there's chances that if they don't have books to order from a company, they're not going to go to that distributor. You know, if no one's buying IDW books, they're not just going to bring some in, because that's a whole new distributor to deal with. So you've got to tell your retailer what you want. Being on a pull list is going to be really helpful. I know it's kind of cool to walk in and just casually check the shelves and go, oh, hey, Moon Knight looks good. I want to check out this new Transformers book, and then, oh, what's going on over here with Zenoscope? Let's get up this new Wonderland book. That's great. And also you get to make your choices based on seeing the book in hand and reading it. But that's going to become more and more difficult with the change. And if this starts to snowball, if it's just IDW and Diamond, or IDW and DC, but I don't think it's going to stay that way. I think you're going to start seeing more and more retailers or more and more publishers switching out to other distributors. So you guys need to keep an eye on that and make sure that you let your retailer know what books you want, so they know which distributor to deal with. So
I think you're going to see that that's not a problem very soon.
No?
Nope. I think the comic book world's going to have to get with what the rest of the book market has been doing. Which is point of sale compatibility.
You're going to have a lot of older retailers fighting it tooth and nail.
You are, and there's going to be struggles, and there will be people who figure that out, and there will be people who don't. But at the end of the day, that's the future. Is you're going to have you order from one person, you order from one piece of software, and it goes to whichever distributor has the product available for you.
Yep.
What the book market does, and it works. So All right. Let's get back to comics. Thank you for covering for me, Dan.
Oh, no problem. How are the Oompa Loompas?
Doopity doos. They were doopity doing.
All right.
He Who Fights with Monsters, #1. This is from Ablaze Comics.
Is this new or has this been on the list before? Because I remember this book.
It has not been on the list before, but there are several titles that are very similar.
I think it's my other job that's making me think of it, but please continue.
It's possible. So this is from the artist behind Something is Killing the Children. So there's some of that involved. On All Hallows Eve, a community struggles under the boot of the Nazi war machine when supernatural forces come to play a part in the conflict. From the artist of the best-selling Something is Killing the Children comes a Halloween tale that will send shivers up your spine. It's World War II, and the struggle between good and evil is in full force. In Prague, the great Bohemian city is being oppressed by the Nazi occupation, and the population lives in terror. While the resistance forces try to organize themselves in the shadows, it is an almost impossible task. With the ruthless SS tightening their grip on every street and neighborhood with overwhelming might, only one hope feeds the struggles, a crazy hope, which rests in the fragile foundations of an ancient, monstrous legend. Well, I struggled to read that. But what it sounds like it's some ancient Middle European mythology mixed with a war story set in Prague.
I noticed you didn't actually say the creators' names.
Not in the solicitation.
Francesco Artabani.
Yes.
And Werther Deladera.
Yes.
Deladera,
yes. So there you go. Those Who Fight with Monsters. This strikes me the same way those Something is Killing the Children and Those Who Wish Me Dead and some of these other
Promise
books.
Me Darkness.
Yeah, You Promise Me Darkness. Some of those where it's got some mythology and it's got some modernization and it's got some storytelling that maybe is a little bit non-traditional that I dig.
Yeah.
Ooh. It's another Zenescope book.
It is.
Were you supposed to write this one, Dan?
What?
Were you supposed to write this one? This is Tales of Terror Bachelorette Party.
I have worked on Tales of Terror. Not this one. This one's listed as Ralph Tedesco, Joe Brucia, and Dave Franchini. So the whole crew worked on it.
It is a 70-page book.
It is. Over the centuries, it becomes customary to celebrate the bride-to-be with one last crazy night, bidding farewell to her old life. But when a group of friends decide to honor the upcoming marriage of one of their own with the classic bachelorette party, things begin to unravel, and they quickly realize that some traditions are best left in the past. Be sure not to miss out on this supersized 72-page party to die for.
She kind of has a domino look.
She does.
I wonder if maybe she has bad luck on her bachelor party.
Yeah, she's kind of their Zenescope's version of the Crypt Keeper.
Yeah, kind of. I think that's interesting. I think the concept of some of these one shots that they're doing really is quite fascinating, especially when they do these. Okay, it's a bachelorette party story with the classic Zenescope twists and turns.
Yeah.
Yeah.
By the way, getting rid of a dead body at a bachelorette party is a great idea because they'll assume it's them.
That's a thought. Are you suggesting a follow-up to Weekend at Bernie's?
No, more of the Bachelor, or just the idea of waking up from more of the Hangover with a twist, where they wake up with a dead body.
Man, I haven't seen The Hangover in forever. I've seen Weekend at Bernie's recently, which is a weird thing to say.
Did you see that when the pandemic hit and all those ballparks were allowing people to send in pictures of themselves for cardboard cutouts in the stands, somebody sent in a picture of Bernie.
I did not.
Yep. Is absolutely classic. So, and there's a snapshot of it. You can probably find it online. I think it was the Kansas City Royals. The batter's up there about to hit, and you look behind him, and there's Bernie.
That's fabulous. I know
the only thing they should have done was get the other two seats and put the two guys.
Yeah, it's true. I know people who send in pictures of their dogs to the Dodgers and stuff, but
oh yeah, the Dodgers had a whole section for pets.
Yeah, which was cool.
Yeah.
All right, that's
a comic book.
This is from Action Lab Comics. This is Crash and Troy #1. Crash and Troy #1 is by Jared Luan and Kyle Coldfelter. Explosions, space chases, cat videos. Crash and Troy are mercs for hire. Latest mission: break out some blue nerd from an intergalactic prison. Who cares? But the blue nerd's post-prison plans might kill billions. Never break out anyone who's blue.
See, I was thinking purple because then they might be busting out Thanos.
But Thanos is not a nerd.
Really? He collects stones.
Yeah, but they're like jewelry. Like it ain't the same as just going out and picking up rocks. But I was more or less thinking, what was the character Horatio Sands played in The Mandalorian? Wasn't he blue?
He was blue, and he didn't actually have a name. They just called him by his alien race.
Okay, we're gonna call him Horatio. Never break out a Horatio from jail. It just doesn't work.
Yeah,
it's a bad story. Dan, if you had to write have you ever written a prison break?
No.
If you were going to write a prison break, how do you think you'd do it?
I would do it kind of like a heist. I would do it very meticulously, and like I said, I would write it like a heist movie.
Cool. I wrote one once for a D&D campaign I was in.
Mm-hmm.
I was DMing, and it was a Star Wars campaign, and they had to break a Wookiee out of a space prison. But what they didn't know is that the Wookiee had snapped in the space prison, and his alignment had become chaotic neutral. And then they made him angry. So he set off a thermonuclear detonation because he wanted the whole prison to disappear and didn't think about how it would kill the whole party.
How did it end?
TPK.
Nice.
Yeah, I'm like, hey guys, guess what? You get to roll new characters now. Yay! Don't piss off your game master.
Which reminds me, I have a game I'm supposed to start with a couple of comic people. I need to get that going.
If you need a player, let me know.
I'll keep you in mind.
Yeah, we can do it through Roll20 or something.
Yeah, well, we're gonna use Roll20 and D&D Beyond.
Cool. I'd be in.
Roll20 is great for the maps, but for character sheets, actual dice rolling, and all that, D&D Beyond is really kicking ass.
Yes, it is.
If they put maps in, I don't think I'd ever go back to Roll20.
Nope.
So.
All right. Doctor Strange, except that he dies in this one. The death of Doctor Strange.
Do you really think they're going to kill Doctor Strange with the movie coming out? And
I can tell you because Jen King, who has read the book, confirmed it. He dies. But
it's the Marvel Universe.
Marvel dead? Or is he like the rest of the world dead?
Right. I mean, the only person that ever stays dead in the Marvel Universe is Uncle Ben. And he makes cameos.
Right. He comes back and then dies again. Like, nobody ever stays dead. Well, Namor was dead for a long time.
But he's not dead now. Even the original Captain Marvel, who died of cancer, they brought back to be a guardian of a prison in some BS thing. All right, Death of Doctor Strange, #1, Jed MacKay, our second Jed MacKay book on the list today, and Lee Garbett. Death comes for the Sorcerer Supreme. Doctor Strange is the world's greatest neurosurgeon and Earth's Sorcerer Supreme, which just seems like overachieving, doesn't it? He defends our planet from the supernatural and interdimensional threats no other hero is equipped to handle. But what would happen if he unexpectedly died? Who would protect Earth and keep the mystical evils at bay? I'm thinking Dr. Voodoo now. Used to be Brother Voodoo, but and most importantly, who killed Stephen Strange? The first chapter in the life of Doctor Strange. First chapter in the life of Doctor Strange, shouldn't it be the death of Doctor Strange, starts here by Jed MacKay and Lee Garbett.
So here's my thing, right? And I'm gonna put this out there, slightly spoilery if you have not seen Shang-Chi. The end of the movie, Shang-Chi is put in a position where in the cinematic, he could become the Sorcerer Supreme. Because they're not sure where the rings come from.
Yeah.
And if they're magical rings, he could fake it until Doctor Strange is no longer dead, because this is Marvel and it will only last 6 weeks.
True. He does take on a Doctor Strange-ish villain.
Mm-hmm.
Actually, I think that particular villain was a Doctor Strange villain. And they are shifting more into the mystical stuff. So, yeah, I guess Shang-Chi, I mean, I don't think they would do that, but I see what you're talking about.
But it could happen.
Yeah. Yeah, I love the cover. And the covers on this series look really good. I've seen 2 and 3 as well. They're really nice looking.
There is a Scotty variant. Let me see what it says.
You and your Scotty variants.
Okay, this is a pretty good Scotty variant. Hold on. I'm gonna say this for those of you out there watching on the interwebs. Come for the magic, stay for the facial hair. Doctor Strange is rocking a total hipster stash in this book. And here is the Scotty Young cover. It says, cheer up, Doc. Dead doesn't usually mean dead. Dead, it's more like paused dead. And that's from Cap. And then Spider-Man says, yep, we've all been there, done that.
Of all the people to say that, I don't think Spider-Man should be the one to say that.
No. But I mean, look at who's there. Cyclops, Wolverine, Cap.
Elektra.
Yep. Yeah.
I like the Doctor Strange ghost, though. That is actually really cool looking.
Right. That's a cool cover. Where Jay Burns and Sean Butler going, oh, I got to have that one. Where are you guys at? This is a great, this is what I'm saying. Sometimes the Scotties are meh, and sometimes the Scotties are fire. This one I think is great. All right, moving on. We're going to move on to Frontiersman.
Yeah, one of the only #1 books from Image this week. I'm used to Image always having a couple #1s, but this is like the only one. This is from Patrick Kindlon and Marco Ferrari. Patience.
He draws really fast.
What?
Do you think Marco Ferrari draws really fast?
I would hope so.
Does everyone hate you for making that joke?
Not for that joke. Patience, conviction, revenge. Patrick, is there a typo in their...
Yes, there is. Patrick.
Patrick Kindlon.
Patrick, depending on
yeah. Return with all new ongoing series. Classic Green Arrow style adventure blends with the thoughtfulness of Concrete in a superhero odyssey for mature but uncynical readers. I don't know what any of that is supposed to mean.
Okay, so there's a book called Concrete.
No, uncynical, mature but uncynical readers. Frontiersman is coaxed out of retirement by an environmental group only to find that being a spokesman makes him a target for old and new enemies alike. For the superhero reader looking for me?
Yes. So the understanding of this book that I have is that the Frontiersman was sort of kind of like Smokey the Bear if he was a vigilante.
Okay.
Protecting the frontiers, protecting the forest, protecting the environment. This environmentalist group, he kind of retires. And this environmentalist group comes to him and says, "Oh, we love you. We want to learn from you. We want to carry on your name." And they coax him back out of retirement to kind of teach them how to do things. Except that they're not really interested in doing the things. They just want him to do them.
Mm-hmm.
It's like if the Lorax was in his mid-70s and still trying to speak for the trees.
He's got the same mustache.
It's true. That's why I thought of it. But what it winds up doing is stirring up a bunch of old and long since dead feuds that are no longer, that he thought were gone. This is one of those books that feels like it's going to be preachy about a topic like the environment, and then winds up being more of an action thriller while still trying to convince you to save the environment. Think Shirtless Bear Hunter meets the later seasons of Dexter.
All right. That's very different than the solicitation they wrote.
I understand. Well, they couldn't spell the writer's name correctly, so I'm taking it into my own hands, Dan.
And that last line about looking for me?
No, that's right. That's a reference. Fair. In the words of just Jeff Dunham. Meow.
Yeah.
All right. The next book we have is The Citizen from Action Lab. So what's interesting about The Citizen is that there have been other stories like this. It's by Charlie McFarlane and Alexander Jovic. Do you remember a book that came out from Boom Studios back in the day called Suicide Risk?
Yes.
Think that with jokes.
Okay.
A journalist tries to cope with being the only non-superhuman in a city full of costume heroes and villains. So the idea is that everybody in this town has superpowers except for this dude. And some of them are super villains and some of them are superheroes. But everybody has a secret identity, and this guy has pretty much figured out who everyone is. One of the stories in the book that was relayed earlier when I was talking to people was there's a bank robbery, and like all of his coworkers go, "Oh, I have to go home to feed my dog." You don't have a dog. I just got one. Like it's that kind of like Superman trying to get out of a meeting.
Yeah.
Kind of thing. And everybody's like, some of them are heroes and some are villains, but none of the heroes know who the villains are. None of the villains know who the heroes are, but this guy knows who everybody is, which I think is a great concept.
Yeah.
So
this looks fun.
Mm-hmm. So Dan, it's just at this point in the show that I remind you, or I let you know that according to what I have here, we only have 3 books left.
That means that's the point of the show that I look at my list and go, really? Yeah. We got that one. Oh, there's one. Okay.
DC.
2, 3. Okay. Yeah. Did that one. I got 4.
I think we're missing some DC. So you're going to have to help me with which DC they are, because 2 of them are not DC.
2 of them are non-DC. Oh, wow. Then this one wasn't mine.
One of them is Beowulf, the Collected Beowulf. This is the Gareth Hines Beowulf retelling. The Collected Beowulf brings together 3 volumes of the critically acclaimed Beowulf comic miniseries under one cover. So if you read the Gareth Hines Beowulf, which is the definitive comic Beowulf, this is for you. Beowulf is one of my favorite stories. I've read it in English, Old English. I've read direct translations of the original Celtic.
Have you read it in emoji yet?
I've not read it in emoji, and I have read this version. And if you are out there and you have a teenager in your life who occasionally needs to write a book report and needs to do it on like a highfalutin book to impress a teacher that they're otherwise underwhelming, right here. You know, it's a good one because you can be like, I read Beowulf. And she'd be like, you did not read Beowulf. Yeah, I did. Here's the graphic novel. You know, and then you write a great book report, and your teacher will be impressed.
And speaking of Beowulf, did everybody notice that Grendel, the Matt Wagner series, is being turned into a TV series?
Grendel was Beowulf's mother, which I always thought was a little incestuous, but we won't get into that.
Yeah.
This is Miracle Molly, which I still think is just the Mary Marvel version of Miracle Man.
But this is DC.
I recognize that is true.
This is, of course, a Batman Secret Files Miracle Molly #1 by James Tynion IV. And the artist Danny, who we talked about earlier with one of Kyle's books.
Yes.
Since Miracle Molly's explosive first appearance in the pages of Batman, people have been clamoring, literally clamoring, to know more about the colorful transhumanist vigilante. Now the wait is over. The history of Gotham's latest breakout star is revealed. It's a story so secret Miracle Molly doesn't remember it. Discover what led a regular Gothamite to reject their past, name, and humanity to embrace the promise of a blank slate. The promise of the Unsanity Collective. Batman series writer James Tynion IV teams up with rising superstar artist Danny to bring you all the way back to the beginning. Bring you all the way back to the beginning of Miracle Molly in this exciting and integral Fear State special. Got a little clumsy there in the last sentence.
Yeah, they needed a comma.
Yeah, comma would have been nice.
I'm trying to figure out what book. Oh, there's one book that you have on your list that I can't find. Let me search it this way.
All right. I pulled them all from the list you get, the website you gave me.
Right. I think one of them is technically out in next week. I think one of them was pushed, but we'll talk about it anyway.
Okay.
Let's do the one that was pushed.
Okay.
Which is Batman versus Bigby, a wolf in Gotham.
This is what I was probably most looking forward to. It's Bill Willingham returning to Fables in a way with Brian Level, and it's kind of starting a new Fables thing. It's Batman versus Bigby, a wolf in Gotham. With the blood dry at Gotham's fourth gruesome murder scene in many weeks, Batman is stumped. The same hallmarks haunt each investigation: brute force entries, bodies ripped to shreds, and stamped with enormous bite marks and clumps of wolf fur, scattered in the wreckage. The streets buzz with rumors of the Werewolf of Gotham. Determined to crack, it kind of feels like a War on Zevon thing. Determined to crack this case, Batman finds no leads and a mysterious, hairy, chain-smoking figure dogging his every move. The Dark Knight's dangerously close to losing his cool when a series of bombings levels the city's libraries in the days leading up to the 32nd annual Gotham Literary Festival. As Batman narrows in on the frickin' bookworm and his literary henchmen, he discovers that an invaluable book from another world is at the center of the violence. Stranger still, the wolf is in on it. But what kind of monster is built from such brains and brawn? And is he an enemy of an ally? Is he an enemy or an ally? Worlds collide as Gotham's mystery kickstarts a return to the world of fables. Okay. First thing,
Werewolves of Gotham.
Yeah, Werewolves of Gotham. It's Bill Willingham returning to Fables. It's Bigby, and it's the frickin' bookworm. Roddy McDowall's villain from the Batman 1966 TV series that has only appeared in comics a couple times. They tried to make him a villain for the Huntress, but he was completely different. They just used the name. So this is a rare occasion to see the bookworm back. So which always felt like he was like, we couldn't get Frank Gorshin in, so let's make a new character.
I say again, wow, Werewolves of Gotham.
So, I'm excited for that book. It's a Black Label book. It looks like it's going to be a lot of fun.
Yeah, so according to my site here, according to where I got the cover, release date is September 28th. However, several other sites are reporting it as September 21st. So don't be weird if your local comic shop doesn't have it. It may be there just next week.
But you can ask about it politely.
Yes. I would absolutely ask about it politely. Hey, you got that new Bookworm book?
You might want to say Batman and Big B because some people may not know Bookworm's in it. But it definitely is going for the Big B alliteration thing.
Batman.
I think Bill Willingham should do that. All the books alliteration. So he does A, B, C, D with all the characters in it. That alphabet. Start with that alphabet.
And the big overarching bad guy for the whole series could be Alphabet Man.
Yes. I like it.
The Alphabet Man Crime Syndicate. Yeah. I should be writing Batman.
No.
But I'm basically illiterate. All right. Speaking of B books, Barbarella.
Yes. Yes, I remember watching this watching the Jane Fonda movie when I was 13 before my parents got home. Barbarella, number 3, Sarah Hoyt, Matabek Musabekov. Fresh off the chaotic conclusion of the Riddle of Camelot, Barbarella finds herself out an ally, but with no time to lick her wounds. A mysterious signal from space leads Barbarella to the water world of Encantado. What are you laughing at? Or are you coughing?
I'm choking on my own existence, Dan.
Okay. Where the remnants of a once thriving situation lay hidden. Well, a once thriving situation lay hidden, as do much genetic shenanigans. At least you think that's all the Siren of Space must deal with. The armed forces of the deadly power behind the enslavement of Camelot is still hot on her trail. Good luck outrunning lasers. Need a little editing on that one, too. Barbarella is a fun character, and Dynamite's doing a really good job of keeping the tone and stuff of the French classic comics. The artwork has been gorgeous, and it's just a really good... If you are a fan of Barbarella, or if you just want something different, some kind of a sci-fi with a European feel, grab this, man. It's a good book. You're muted. Kyle's muted now, so we're going to keep looking at Barbarella's butt, which, not a bad thing. Lucio Perillo probably did that cover. It's a very nice cover. I'm not sure what that creature is behind him, but it might have to do with the situation that they're uncovering.
My mouse died.
Services will be held on Tuesday.
Om mane padme om. No, okay. So yeah, Barbarella, super hot. All right, let's head over to less hot, but still Aquaman.
Hey, you may not think it's hot. Someone else might.
Well, no, because this is actually Aqua Lad.
No, it says Aquaman. Aquaman the Becoming.
Yeah, but this is a story about Aqua Lad.
Brandon Thomas, Diego, I am going to slaughter this one. Orlor Tegue. Jack, and by the way, Diego, send me a pronunciation guide. I'll never get it wrong again. Jackson Hyde finally has it all. Mentors who support him, a community that loves him, an honest relationship with his mother, a cute new guy in Amnesty Bay who's caught his eye, and access to Aquaman's private training facility in Atlantis. Well, he had it all until the training facility and half of the Atlantis Palace blew up to Kingdom Come with Jackson in them. Now Jackson stands accused of wrecking the life he worked so hard to build. Aqualad's going to need all of his skills, wit, and cunning just to prove his own innocence, let alone graduate from sidekick to Aquaman. That's my best 1960s voice.
Yes, I appreciate that. Like I said, I hate Aqualad. I mean, I just can't stand him.
Okay. Is it just Aqualad as a whole or this particular incarnation?
The character as a whole. Like, I love the idea of Batman having a kid and Superman having a kid. And so there needs to be a kid Aquaman, right? Like, there's not a kid Wonder Woman, but that's kind of a special circumstance. You know.
Donna Troy?
Yeah.
And Cassie Lang?
Yeah, but like it's not like it's like her kid. Like it's kind of a special circumstance. Like it's a different thing because she's a god.
Right.
Like it's a different thing. Whereas Aqualad is kind of just like, oh hey, it's another fish. I don't know. I don't dig Aqualad. I do dig Brandon Thomas.
Fish.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
I
Feeling
do
a little
like
racist there, bud.
No. Well, against Atlanteans?
Yes, yeah, you seem to be racist against Atlanteans.
Hey, man. They were the ones who let their whole city get wiped off the face of the earth, okay?
Do you think it's okay to call an Atlantean fish?
No, I'm talking about, like, they're underwater, so it's like, oh, they swam past another fish. Oh, they swam past another fish.
Oh, okay.
Oh, they swam past... Like, it's like their bad guys are all just like...
The fishermen?
Like, yeah. Their bad guys are just like other underwater things. It just, I don't know. Get a dark side level bad guy and I'll buy in.
All right. I'll put a pitch together.
Yeah. But I was going to say, I do, however, really like Brandon Thomas as a writer. So it's one of those is that if people read issue number 1, they're like, this is really good. I'll give it a shot. Because there are certain writers out there, I think, that you could say, oh, I'm writing, who just did Jimmy Olsen? They just did the Jimmy Olsen run, huh?
No idea. See, now it's on the verge of going into my pet peeve, which is multiple characters with the same name.
Well, that's fair. So Superman's pal, Jimmy Olsen, they just did it, and it was written by Matt Fraction.
Okay.
I don't care about Jimmy Olsen. But Matt Fraction is writing him, so I'm going to give him a shot, you know. And that's where I'm at with this. It's Brandon Thomas is writing it, so if people say it's good, I'm willing to give it a chance.
You notice that Matt Fraction got a special thanks in the Shang-Chi credits? Shang-Chi credits? Yeah.
I know he worked on the script a little.
Cool.
Okay. A book that I put on my list every time it comes out because I love it, but also so I can play this. If I scroll down to it and hit this.
Shazam! Shazam!
Okay, you only put it on the list because you want to play that.
No, I've been reading it and I've really enjoyed this 3-part miniseries. Or this 4-part miniseries that's coming out right now. Because it's Shazam and the rest of the Titans. Like you get Shazam paired up with people you wouldn't normally see Shazam paired up with. One of the things that the writers of the show The Office talked about was how they would have pitches for off couples.
Mm-hmm.
So it's characters who wouldn't normally hanging out because circumstances called for it. And so that's kind of where I feel like this falls. Is it's Shazam with other characters from the Teen Titans that he normally wouldn't be hanging around. So that's part of why I've been enjoying it. Is it feels like it's an off coupling.
Cool.
All right.
It's a rough cover though.
It is kind of a rough cover. Let me see if there's what the variant looks like here.
Yeah, the proportions on Shazam just I don't know.
Yeah, no, I'm with you. I hear you. It is a little strange. Not gonna lie. Let's see. The other cover is not available. But this is Tim Sheridan and Clayton Henry. Sons of Perdition. Neuron returns to test Billy Batson's resolve. Now confronted with the truth about fellow Titans Academy student Dane's lineage, Billy Batson must decide whether he can trust the person who brought him to hell as they search for the missing rock of eternity. But as the duo grows closer to the rock, the power of Shazam, a new threat that Billy knows all too well emerges. Neuron, the demonic lord of the underworld.
Question.
Yeah.
The Rock of Eternity is freaking huge. How do they keep losing it?
They forget to put it back where it goes?
Because this is not the first time the Rock of Eternity has disappeared.
It's true. I think Shazam keeps loaning it to untrustworthy people.
Sounds like it. Or he's skipping stones and just throws the Rock of Eternity. Oh, shit, it's gone.
Right. No, I really do think he just keeps forgetting where he puts it and other people pick it up because it's cool.
Could be.
Yeah. So, last book of the night we have, unless, Dan, have we covered everything on your list?
I will check while you do talking.
All right. Last book of the night, at least on my list, is Baby Teeth number 20. And why is it the last book of the night on my list? Because it's the last issue of the critically acclaimed and long-running Baby Teeth that only lasted 20 issues. Donny Cates and Gary Brown. Everything ends. Sadie prepares her son to meet his maker. Can the apocalypse be called off? Stay tuned for the exciting climax to Baby Teeth. Here's the deal. This whole book, we've been set up to believe that Sadie's son is the Antichrist. As we've drawn to the end, especially issues 19 and now 20, that assertion may not be as accurate as once thought. So we find ourselves in a situation where what are we actually facing? And is Donny Cates leaving this open for volume 2? Tune in and find out. Baby Teeth number 20. Thank you, Dan. So, Dan, did we miss anything from your list?
Nope, we're good.
We didn't miss anything from my list. I will say this. There are a bunch more amazing trade paperbacks and hardcovers out this week. Make sure you check with your local comic shops on those. Things like... I'm going to blank on them while I pull them up. The Good Asian, Gideon Falls, Daredevil by Chip Zdarsky, Sea of Sorrows, Ha Ha, which was great from Image Comics, The Autumnal, Young Hellboy in the Hidden Land, which I loved, Marjorie Finnegan, Temporal Criminal, Batman Little Gotham, Calendar Days, which is him versus Calendar Man. And I almost put it on my list, but I decided not to, only because I'm asking for it. I'm actually asking for this for Christmas. But I will throw it up now because I think Dan will appreciate it as much as I will. I know he's not a huge horror guy, but this is like comics essentials here. This is the EC Artists Library Slipcase Volume 6.
Nice.
But look at who's in there. Look at who's in this one. A box set of 4 great books in our acclaimed EC Artists Library, which collects the best comics of the 1950s from the greatest mass market comic book publisher in history. Featured are Master Race and Other Stories by Bernard Craigson, Death Stand and Other Stories illustrated by Jack Davis, Doctor of Horror and Other Stories illustrated by Graham Ingalls, and my favorite, The Martian Monster and Other Stories illustrated by Jack Common. If you don't know Jack Common's art, you should look it up. But if you've ever read anything that was drawn by Mike Mignola,
heavy influence.
Very heavy influence.
Yeah.
So collectively, that's more than 110 stories and more than 900 pages, plus bonus features and insightful commentary from EC scholars. a great gift for the person in your life who's into great comic art illustration and gripping storytelling. 916 pages for only $100.
So this is a better value than American Gods.
If you're into EC, yes.
Yeah. Well, no, I mean per page.
Per page, yes, it's a better page rate. But
yeah. I said value.
Yes, it's true.
Yeah.
So like that's something to be checking in on the EC Artist Library. Other things, just throwing them out there that you might want to check out. They're in the trade paperback section and the hardcover. Oh, also there's 80 Years of Archie Christmas. So that's kind of my that's kind of the other stuff that's on my list in terms of trade paperbacks and hardcovers. Dan, I don't know what you talked about while I was gone, but have you told people what's going to be on the Dan Wickline show the rest of this week?
I have not. We have Garrett Gunn as a guest tomorrow. He is working on a book called Good Boy.
The Goodest Boy.
Good with Christina Blanche. And or Dr. Christina Blanche, excuse me. Don't mean to, so we'll be having him in tomorrow to talk about his humor take on the John Wick series.
Yes,
it's a good way to put that. And then so please.
And like I said, and Garrett Gunn, for those of you who aren't that familiar with Garrett Gunn, where is Sean Butler and Jay when you need him? But Garrett has a very interesting story of how he came to comics and why some of his other stuff. So make sure you tune in for that. Garrett's going to be a great interview for Dan.
And then on Thursday, we are going to be talking about the latest issue of Marvel's What If, which this week is going to be what if Thor was an only child? What if Thor was raised without Loki? And they've nicknamed it Party Thor. So, this is probably the lighter. The lightest of the What If episodes, at least thematically in the beginning.
It's true.
What I've been hearing is that originally this was going to be the 5th episode. Then Killmonger would be 6, and then Zombies would have been 7. But they felt they weren't getting quite the number of viewers that they wanted, and thought the Zombies would get more attention. So they flipped them, and Zombies became number 5. Which is something you can do in a series like this, and you couldn't do in like Loki.
It's true.
Yep.
So those are the Dan Wickline shows for later this week. So
and tune in and catch the Jim Valentino interview when it pops up on YouTube, or is it already up on YouTube?
It's already up on YouTube. Dan interviewed Jim Valentino. We may, if it's okay with Dan, rerun that later this week, so be watching for that.
You can rerun that as many times as you like. It's a great interview.
It is a great interview, and Jim is a great guy who, if you don't know about Jim Valentino, like, what? But also, watch Dan's interview. It kind of explains Jim is a guy who has been there at a bunch of flashpoint moments.
Yeah.
The
Image. Oh, and also he gives us a sneak peek of the upcoming Image timeline book. He shows us actual pages from the upcoming book, which I didn't expect to see those, but it was very nice to see him show those.
Yeah, I love how he's just like, I'll show you stuff.
Yeah.
What are they going to do? I'm Jim Valentino.
Yeah, I mean, he is the boss, he's
right.
And I love what he does with Shadowline, because when he was running Image Central, it was a bigger machine. Now he's moved back to Shadowline, which is more of a boutique publisher, and he can just publish what he wants, and it's more hands-on than Image Central is. Like today, we saw one of the Image books had a typo in the solicitation, stuff like that. If you're going through Shadowline, Jim has an editor looking at all that stuff. Jim is, they're giving you ideas, deadlines, and stuff like that when you need to get things done without harping on you, but it's just more of a guiding hand. I've worked with Jim on 3 different projects that went to print and one that we ended up pulling the plug on, a creator-owned project I was doing there. But I worked with him on Savage with Steve Niles and Mike Mayhew. I worked with him on Steve Niles' Strange Cases with Steve and Dave Hartman. And then I got to do Shadowhawk for 5 issues with Tone Rodriguez. I love working with Jim. He's a great guy. And I was really nice to catch up with him today. Or yesterday.
Yeah.
We ran it today.
I was going to ask you about something. There is a new book coming out. I don't know if it's next week or the week after. I'm looking to confirm. That is something that you and I have talked about many, many times.
Okay.
Let me confirm the release date on it. It's got to be next week then. Because I asked Nick about it. It is... Where'd it go? Where'd it go? Come on. I want to put the cover up. Come on. I'm scrolling. It's from Dynamite.
I guessed that when you said Nick.
Right. Oh, Lord. See, now I'm going to feel dumb because I brought it up and I was unprepared. There it is. It's Jennifer Blood.
Ah, yes. Jennifer Blood, the Garth Ennis created series. Basically a female Punisher with a little more leaning into the mafia, the Italian mafia background.
Yeah, this one's by Fred Van Lente.
Mm-hmm.
Like I said, it's we've talked about this kind of book before. You and I have quite a bit. I just, I'm just excited to see it come back, and this is a really dope cover by Lucio Perillo.
Yeah.
So
Lucio is just knocking it out of the park, and he's doing a lot of books over there. I mean, there's constantly seeing his name on all these books, but yeah, that is a great cover.
So be on the lookout for this, guys. I think it's going to come highly recommended from both Dan and I.
Yep. Great character, and I look forward to seeing what Fred does with it.
Absolutely. All right. Well, guys, that is going to do it for Dan and I tonight on In Stores This Week. Make sure, we don't always do a great job of reminding you of this, but make sure you head over to comicshoplocator.com. Comicshoplocator.com. You type in your zip code, and it tells you where comic book stores are near to you. I, for instance, am getting on a plane tomorrow afternoon to go out of town for a work-related thing, and will be in a city in which I have not been in years. I don't know where the comic book stores are, but I'm going to need something to read for the ride home. So I will be using Comic Shop Locator to type in the zip code of the area in which I am staying and finding a comic book store to Uber to and get some stuff to read on the plane on the way home. I don't care. And this is something, this is an honest, I know we talk a lot about Comic Book Shop Locator and Previews World and all this kind of stuff because they're important, but honest to God, guys, I'm going to be on the road for 30 hours. Use Comic Shop Locator. I don't care how long you're in a town. See if there's if you've got some spare time, see if there's a comic book shop. It doesn't cost you. Well, I shouldn't say it doesn't cost you anything because if you go to the comic book shop, it'll probably cost you something. But go in, support a small business. It doesn't cost you very much. You spend $5. That's $5 that store wasn't counting on because they didn't know you were coming. Right. So head in, if you're traveling, if you're passing through somewhere, hey, we're going to stop at that McDonald's to get a bite. Let me see if there's a comic book shop. Do that kind of thing. And just, check it out. comicshoplocator.com.
I used it when I was on vacation in San Luis Obispo, found a couple comic shops up in that area, did a swing by.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And what did it cost you? Just a few bucks for your comics, and that probably made that store's day.
Mm-hmm.
Let me ask you this, Dan.
Yeah.
And I know I know, and I don't mean this in any kind of weird way. When you go into a store, if you find a copy of The Freeze on the shelf, do you sign it and put it back? Or you find a copy of one of your books on the shelf?
I have brought it up to the retailer and said, this is a book I worked on. Would you like me to sign it?
Yeah.
I don't just randomly sign them, and I don't do it that often. But if it's a shop, a couple years ago, I went back to Colorado right when the freeze was coming out, and walked in, and he had some copies on the shelf, and I said, by the way, that's my book. Would you like me to sign the copy for your customers? And he was happy to, he asked me to do that and stuff. Mm-hmm. And I, of course, purchased something. I purchased an Aquaman wallet that I still use to this day.
The one of the Tyvek paper ones?
No. Oh. A nice leather one with the Aquaman logo on it.
Nice.
Yeah. It came out when the Jason Momoa movie came out.
Sure.
So.
But no, like I said, it's I saw a video on TikTok of a pretty famous writer going into bookstores and signing random copies of their book and just putting them back. And I don't know if the bookstore knew or not, but I know Neil Gaiman has done things like that, and I know others have done it. So yeah, I've never written anything that anyone else would want to read.
It's either Brandon Sanderson or Kevin Hearn. Whenever he travels, I follow both of them, and I don't remember which one it is. But when they travel, they go into
the airport
bookstore, and if they see a copy, they'll sign it.
Yep.
So
that's one of the things I'm looking forward to tomorrow on my layover is going to the airport bookstore. Just be like, okay, there is nothing here I want to read. Good thing I got a thick trade to read on the plane.
They might have James Patterson's new version of Take on the Shadow.
I have it already.
Oh, okay. I've got it to listen to. I haven't had a chance to yet.
That's how I got it. I listened to it this week when I was in the car, like going to doctor's appointments and stuff.
How was it?
It's pretty good. I'm not a huge James Patterson fan.
No.
But it's the Shadow.
Exactly. It's new Shadow,
Right. So I was totally into reading that, or to listening to that. I have an audiobook for the plane. I have a big, thick trade for the plane, and I have a much smaller trade for the plane. So, but I will be visiting a local comic shop in the area in which I am visiting to try to pick up some new books to read on the way home. So.
Very cool.
All right. Well, Dan, have a good show tomorrow with Garrett Gunn.
Thank you. Have a safe trip.
Thank you. I will be back. I will be back here Friday, pushing the buttons again. And we will see everybody next week on In Stores this week.
Good night, everybody.
I never thought about that pun before.